Well, this is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. The lights are up, the furniture's out, and all the finishes are in place. We are ready for the client to come on in that door, and it feels so good. I'm Anne-Marie Barton for the reveal. We're now in the desert. This is Palm Springs, and this project has a whole different vibe. It is intended to feel peaceful and give a sense of wellness. Let's go inside. Just at the start of the entry, we have arches, and I decided to repeat those. I wanted an architectural element amongst all the peacefulness and the quiet nature of the walls. Walking through, we have a casita, and then it opens right up to an indoor-outdoor room. I think it's the most important room in the house. This is where we relax, catch a little bit of fresh air when it's not too warm here in Palm Springs. We wanted the idea to feel very rusticated and natural, and we start that theme right here with all the rustic woods, even the Buddha, the sense of casual informality and textiles. Mixed with all of the new is this sense of texture that I receive from these old rugs that are all over the floor in sort of a relaxed, casual setting. A little fun spot in the house, this swing intended for the grandchildren. It also offers a lot of texture and a little bit of casualness and bohemian nature. Now let's go inside. This home was a complete gut and remodel. In fact, when they called, I looked online at the photos and I thought, oh my gosh, can I do this? It starts right here, adding this glass and steel front door with the arched top. And you can see the sensibility changes as soon as you walk in. We have plaster walls everywhere, but I don't want you to look at the little things. I want you to think about how we feel in the space. We have a lot of arid beauty, soft tones, gentle vibes, and soft materials. The kitchen is here, the great room is here, and the dining. They all speak to each other because you can't really get from one to the other without being in the entire space. Now is a good time to talk about how to elevate your kitchen. Let's start with the countertops themselves. They need to be out of natural slab material. Now, maybe not marble, it's expensive and hard to keep up, but instead you could consider quartzite. It stays light and yet it's durable. Sinks are a must to be considered cool. Let's look at how I've integrated with the countertop material this extra long sink, and you can see the bevel detail. And then we have a drying rack actually made out of the stone itself. I know we think a sink is not that important, but to me, I am here every day, so it matters. It is important that we create focal points, but they don't always have to be the biggest wow. In this case, I wanted this subtle theme, and you can see that with the soft hood element. The architecture is there, the shape, but the tones are meant to meld in. And on this side, I chose to hang a single sconce, one sconce. No longer do we have to pair them, or do we even count on them for light. We're just looking for soft illumination and a form of artwork itself. Don't forget the range. Now, this is a 36-inch range, not a big kitchen, but I love the details of the brass. When it comes to hardware, I like a mix. So I've got applied hardware in the form of edge pulls, and then I have what we call integrated finger pulls. These are done with a beautiful bevel detail. They're easy to grab, and they look good. You can see inside we've used a walnut interior, which really upgrades the look inside your drawers better than melamine. So achieving the mix of finger pulls and applied hardware. This is actually called an edge pull, and you just apply it right to the edge of your doors. And of course, cover as many appliances as you can with wood, and in this case, we used a rift white oak. And then we put the real workhorse shelves right here exposed in the kitchen. I love implanting these brass shelves that appear to be free hanging, but actually we embed all of the brackets into the walls themselves and the stone so that they appear thin and sinewy. You can see all of the gorgeous dinnerware. This is the favorite part of what I do and the last part of what I do. I was so pleased to be able to really gut and remodel this home. So we were able to open up the dining room right to the kitchen. I don't really have words for how much I love this custom dining table I created. If you look closely, you'll see this marble and the beautiful round nature set right into this curve. And yet we go from the curve, the round, to the rectangle on the other end. Underneath this piece, centered, is this beautiful column leg, and we undulated the stone in and out. This is a serving area, but you can also put chairs around it and eat. I picture like a charcuterie board set out here when I'm having people over, and then the other people sit around this way. You can see the chairs are also very contributive with the beautiful fur here, and yet a Krypton fabric for the seat cushion, because again, we have to live by the 50-50 rule. Equally aesthetic and practical. When I design a home filled with so much neutrality, I really count on my art curation to bring it to life and to bring the sense of natural in and the color. In this case, I was looking for desert tones. You can see I've brought out the oranges, the nutmegs, the sand, and the connection to different textures, which is important when you're doing a collage wall. We have shiny, we have natural and dry, watercolor paper, and then oil. All of these connect together to make for an interesting ensemble. Now let's look at the party bar. Adjacent to the dining is the party bar. What is a party bar? It's the place everyone goes to fill their drinks, grab them out of the fridge doors, and keep out of the kitchen. This becomes filled with options and used as a buffet, but always trying to make it beautiful at the same time. We ran the stone up and created a natural location for a shelf and easy self-service access. This is one of the favorite specimens in the house. This is called a sconce. This is really more than a light fixture, it is art. And again, I can't have artwork everywhere, so I have to turn to lighting to deliver. This is actually the 8th home I've done for these clients, and I really appreciate that element of trust. But this home had to be different. The others were in other parts of the country where things were a little different. Truly, living well in our spaces is what it's all about. Being present, relaxing, and having that moment to be still. I know I've done a good job when my clients feel good in the spaces. When rooms are this settling and soft, we actually find ourselves looking at the architecture of the spaces for oomph and vibe. In this case, it's the fireplace mantle that's soft and coved, unexpected and subtle. Also, the desert colors are pulled out right from the start in this soft, woolly bench. There's a lot of walnut in desert tones. It's that reddish nutmeg, and we celebrate it in this space. It's important to know the client wanted carpet in this room, which originally I thought, oh, how's that gonna work? And yet in this space, it feels better because it's softened. Look at the textures, the colors, and then the fact that I can walk right through. It's very open, even though it's a cush sectional. The softness is made for comfort. The colors are made to soothe. This room delivers a sense of peace. Amongst all the new stuff, it's important to have these vibes of natural and vintage and history, like this little table, amongst all the other. We chose to go with a long, linear, modern fireplace and put this adobe style hood on top, taking that plaster and letting it just roll back into the walls. Very subtle, but again, the shape is doing the talking. Now we have to deal with the television, as we always have to. So the best thing we could come up with is to insert it into shelving and fit it right into a space. Rather than accenting with woodwork here, which would call way too much attention to itself, we simply formed all the shelving with the plaster going in and out. Simple is really sometimes better. These artifacts show up because of the subtleties of what's around them. I remember going into LA and finding this piece, loving the fact that it had the sweat of this nutmeg tone here at the top. A lot of details that make it come together. Crystals, of course, you can see my favorite is here. Artifacts, this wonderful sliding ottoman top so they can put their feet up and a drink on the table. When you think about a room like this with ceilings up to 15 feet tall, I have to wonder, how am I going to warm it? In this case, I felt the drapes offered that opportunity of both softness, cool texture, as well as a little bit of light movement against all the hardscape in a home. So drapes are not what we remember from our grandmother's house. They've gotten really cool, and the fabrics are amazing. So you see this fabric is just beautiful and has sort of a rhythmic expression in the threading. Also, when you have rooms this tall, let's have those drapes go all the way up instead of just above the windows. That way we add to the lift in the space and the drama. So we can't miss talking about the rugs. Even though I had carpet, I could use a rug on top. And so I found this with a little bit of the blushy nutmeg pink and the tassels, adding that little bit of bohemian texture and casualness that I was after. Now the sectionals these days are kind of broken up. They're not always big impediments to a space. Instead, we leave them open, making them easy to come in and out of. And you can see I have a lot of curves on this sectional on the ends and on these shapes here. Again, reacting to the hood shape and the arches I'm about to show you. Large great rooms really bring on the idea of various different conversation areas. This is a great example of cool factor, close to the crowd, but yet a little bit away for private conversation. This is also a chase lounge where you could relax and read, but I want you to look at the details. The legs on this sofa are made of cast brass. The crystal and the walnut side table pulling right into the chase lounge. Just a day before we were finished with this installation, I realized I was missing something. I needed a sense of vintage. I needed to collect a few more pieces. I called the client, they said yes, and I got in the car and drove to LA. And this is what we found in the first shop we went into. It's a pair of beautiful leather chairs. I was able to do 2 different sets of chairs, and I love the combination. And if you can believe, this marble table was there just ready to match with all of these desert tones. This artwork was already here, but on that little trip, I found this sconce, if you can believe, and I love that it's 3 arms. The top arm lights the artwork, and the other arms help light the game table. Leading from the great room in the kitchen, down the hall to the primary bedroom is next, but I want to point out how important your light fixtures are. When it comes to budgets, people understand paying more for appliances or a roof material, but I want people to understand that lighting matters, rugs matter. These are the things we touch and see every day. Let's start down the hall and I'll explain why we love arches again. Moving down this hallway, you're delivered to this beautiful end piece. We have to be delivered to a moment, a focal point. the artwork, the natural vibes of these wooden planters. But along the way, we want softness and things to congeal and go together, even taking the plaster down to the baseboard so we're not showing off a horizontal line. We immediately added arches to all the doorways, you'll start to see. So let's take a walk down toward the primary suite right this way. This is my favorite hallway in the house. It's the Hall of Arches, and I thought repeating it made it extra powerful and dramatic. Now, when I say the word arches, I'm not sure everyone's on board. The reason they work again today is because we're now at a point where we're not doing casing and base and all of the elaborate details. So when we're this subtle, we need these architectural elements, and they're welcomed. This again establishes a form of art and illumination, and yet it's subtle. It's hard to believe that a hallway could be my favorite thing in a house, but this one is. I love this dirty toned pinky blush rug right before the art nook. Getting this piece of art to match the arc above was really crucial. And you can see all of these rich sand tones, again, bringing in the desert vibes. Another reason it's important to leave room for surprises is this bench cushion. All of a sudden I thought, what am I going to put at the bottom of this beautiful deliverable? So we created this custom cushion that's barely a cushion at all. It's hand stitched with really wide yarn, and I wanted the edges to be frayed. It's all in the details. Now we're in the primary suite, and it all starts with this beautiful arched white oak door. We love this arch now because around it is nothing but subtleties, none of the fancy stuff of the past. Right when you walk in, you can see something artistic, something beautiful and curious. This is a wooden bowl from Africa. And as you choose your sconce, you pick your bowl. They're all unique, and they turn it right into this light element. Again, I'm not looking for light. I'm looking for illumination and art. I partner that with these threads and textiles that are handmade. You can see how important it is to have these artifacts, things that show texture and artisan in the house. Let's go over all of the requirements I was given for this very suite. Okay, we had to have a Murphy bed, a chaise lounge to watch TV, a king-size bed, a chair and an ottoman, drapes, motorized blinds, a hutch as a dresser, and of course, a TV. So here is the result. I pepped it up a little bit by adding these beautiful, long, light pendants that are in a smoked blue glass. Behind that wood piece that looks like part of a beam is actually where I stuff the drapery hardware in, and it becomes seamless. I want you to notice all of these textures. These are the nubby things that you react to when you're in a space that make you feel cozy, warm, and like you're in a relaxing, delicious setting. These wonderful fur throw pillows are all you need. You can leave everything else on the bed simple. It's these little anecdotes that keep it interesting. And now looking at this very tall pendant heading all the way down, and then we have the beautiful light source itself, which really just flows like a lamp on a table. But why not have something a little more interesting? Now let's find the Murphy bed. All of the other homes that I've done for this client have been larger scale. This is a smaller scale, so we have to fit more sleeping spaces. So they were tricky. We have a Murphy bed right here in this cabinet that we can pull out and easily push this chaise lounge out of the way. This way their children can come sleep in here when people need to use his bedroom as the guest room. That soft rounding on the wall helps soften the entrance, and so does keeping the wood floor from the bedroom into the bathroom itself. Now that's a dare, but I can tell you, just like with wood on our kitchen tables, they can be wiped off. and it really adds warmth to what is otherwise filled with glass and stone materials. This is something not everybody is willing to do. If you notice, we used an entire slab on the face of this vanity, and there's no storage, but just this little space here for hand towels. This was a dare, and in order to make it work, we decided to use mirrors that held all of the storage. So we're a little tricky, but the client agreed it mattered more to them how this looked and felt than how it functioned. Of course, keeping that sinewy, continuous vibe, we had to go with the integrated sinks, taking the slab material up, across, and down to the long linear drain. I guess I feel like every spot in the house matters, and we may as well make it beautiful. In this tub area, I thought we should embed the tub into an embrace of the slab material. It really holds the tub in place. Putting artwork above was a necessity, but I also had to have this lush pendant. You can see the horsehair nature, very tactile and textural, hanging all the way from the ceiling, really an element of curiosity. Now the shower, wow. Instead of tile on the walls, we went with one slab on each section. They're butted together tight, and it makes for a seamless shower and no grout joints. Naturally, we also do need a fair amount of storage, so I love relying on the exposed linen cabinet that has my towels and, of course, a little bit of art. This is a makeup area with some drawers and another mirror. I love this bohemian style bench with all of this contour, again, speaking to the rounded elements in the house. And this is the closet, filled with wood and mirrors and a lot of storage. And again, the use of the edge pull. Not only do we welcome arches now, we also trust skylights. They don't leak. So add them wherever you can to bring in this light we need. You can see the archways begin again this direction, heading toward the son's bedroom. Look at the thickness of the space. This is what makes the difference right here, going all the way up and over. Let's show you the powder. What makes a powder bath extraordinary? It's all of the finishes. I feel like I'm known for bathrooms, and the powder bath is when I really raise the bar. Right at the view line, you can see the unusual. It's the limestone vessel that I had them age in patina. It's the beautiful marble vanity that's rounded and has a shelf underneath to hold the towels. It's the light fixtures that really delivers the art in the room. They're hanging pendants to the left, asymmetrical and not taking over the space, just adding to it. Now in the boys' room, you can see we again kept it very simple, relying on the throw pillows for the oomph in the room. Here are the built-in cabinets for the closeting. Instead of going into a dark space to find all your clothes, why not add a little texture into the room itself? In this son's room, we decided to keep the bedding once again very simple, relying on textures and fabrics to create the oomph. Instead of lamps, we went with wall mount swing arm sconces, not just for function, but also the aesthetic. Our bathrooms just have to be cool, and this one delivers. We have the vanity sitting up off the floor about 10 inches. We've got a thick countertop with a detail that I call a quirk miter. And then for the mirror, we went for a round mirror that actually looks to be cut off and sitting on the backsplash. That's one of my favorite looks. Right next to the dining room are these doors leading to the oasis. The entire reason they came to Palm Springs is the golf course, the jacuzzi, the pool, the putting green. This atmosphere adds to that sense of relaxation and peace and the observance of nature. Of course, you've got to stay out of the sun a little bit here in Palm Springs, so we stretched this very long trellis veranda to have the dining and all of the different sitting areas. Out in front of those is the wonderful pool, the jacuzzi, we've got a kids pool, and of course a putting green. and I think he can hop, skip, and jump right onto that golf course. It's imperative that I embrace what's on the outside in order to bring it onto the inside. I was very influenced by all of the agave, the natural stone, the palm trees, and even the shapes of the cactus. You can see the exterior of the house has rounded corners. We have a tile roof. There's a lot of texture, all very close to the house. And for that reason, we splay the doors open and allow it to come in and bring that desert energy to the interiors. I love what I do. I love this job. I love providing home for people that I work for. All of them are different, but every one of them come down to the same resounding essence of natural, organic, soft, peaceful living. I'm Anne Marie Barton for The Reveal.